Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm sharing how I created these adorable farm animal cakesicles. If you're new to Cakesicles, don't panic, as we'll be going step by step with loads of tips along the way. I hope you enjoy the video and you find it helpful. If you do, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. To make these, you'll need some chocolate, and please don't worry if you don't know how to temper this, as I'll show you a nice, easy way to do so in the video. Either some cake leftovers or a few plain cupcakes, some buttercream, corn flour, some food colours suitable for chocolate, so either powdered or oil-based, and some coloured fondant. I've added a little tylose to this to help it harden quicker and also make it easier to work with. So you'll also need some equipment for this. I've got a rolling pin, fondant tools, brushes, a spatula, a sharp knife, an offset spatula, some small round piping tips, a basic double boiler, which I'll explain a bit better in a moment, a cakesicle mould, a chopping board, and some cakesicle sticks. Whenever we melt chocolate and we want it to go back to its original state, we need to temper it. This ensures that it stays lovely and shiny, and it also has that snap when broken. The method I personally find the easiest and the most reliable is seeding. This is where we gently melt some of the chocolate over a double boiler and then we seed it with room temperature chocolate. This brings down the temperature and it also helps to stabilise the crystals. So this is how I make my basic double boiler. I have a small saucepan with about ½ inch of water in, and then a bowl which stands comfortably on top, allowing space between the bottom of the bowl and the water. You don't want them touching, as it will make it too hot, and then that will take the chocolate out of temper. It's the steam that we want that will gently heat it up. Unfortunately, due to the setup of all my lights and equipment in my kitchen, I can't show the melting, but just pop it on a low to medium heat and then stir until it's just melted. So here's my chocolate, now it's completely melted and there are no lumps left. I'm now going to add in the rest of my room temperature chocolate and then just keep stirring constantly until it's smooth again. The bowl is cool to the touch and it will be ready to use. I'm colouring this with a powdered whitener. Now I just wanted to add that I know that this has been banned in some countries, but right now in the UK it's still legal to use. There are other brands and types, so please do check what is safe to use where you are. I'm only using a small amount, and when I bring back the other chocolate bar, you can see the difference by comparison. I'm not going for an absolutely brilliant white, but the chocolate is so yellow that I just wanted to lighten it up a bit. The mould I'm using is made from silicone, and each cavity is approximately 7 centimetres long and 4 centimetres wide. At one end there is a small slit for your popsicle stick and a little holder to keep it in place while it sets. Taking a couple of spoonfuls of the melted chocolate, I'm going to encourage it up the sides and along the base with the back of my spoon until I get a nice even layer. I used approximately 16 grams in each cavity. Now for the eagle-eyed of you, you may have seen a piping bag and some scissors in the equipment, and this is because you can also pop it into a piping bag and use this if you want it to be a little bit neater. Gently tap the mould to release any air bubbles and then place the popsicle stick in now. This ensures that you don't crack the shell trying to push it in later on when it's completely hardened. While that sets, I'm going to prepare the filling. This is super simple and really tasty too. All you do is crumble up some cake and then mix in some buttercream until you get a doughy consistency. I used 80 grams of cake with 50 grams of buttercream, so you're looking at just over half the amount of buttercream to cake ratio. As long as it's not too crumbly, not too wet, it holds its shape nicely, it will be perfect. My chocolate shell has now completely hardened and I'm going to fill it with my mixture. I tend to break off just little bits at a time and then just kind of really pack it in, but very carefully so I don't crack the shell. Don't forget to also fill underneath the popsicle stick. Once it's filled, top off with a little more melted chocolate to seal it all in. I used about 6 grams for this, and then I'm just using my offset spatula to smooth it out and give it a little tap to help it all settle down. To remove the cakesicle, I'm gently peeling back the top with one hand, and with the other I'm supporting underneath and pushing gently until it pops out. You can then wiggle out the stick and free it from the mould. It may take a bit of practice, but try and support the cakesicle as much as you can and carefully take it out. As you can see, we have that lovely nice shine to the chocolate, but we also have a few bits hanging off the edge. These can be easily and cleanly cut off with a sharp knife, just like so. I asked my daughter to give all these characters names and will be revealing them at the end of each section. So let's begin. Let's kick things off with the pig. Taking some pink fondant, I'm using an oval cutter for the nose and a rose petal cutter for the ears. If you don't have these cutters, you could do it by hand or just use a circular cutter and then roll out the oval for the nose and then pinch the ends for the ears. Using a ball tool or just even the end of a paintbrush, emboss 2 holes for the nostrils and then curl over the ends of the ears. To make the eyes, I'm using piping tips as I just don't have cutters that small. The number 12 tip is perfect for the whites and the number 4 tip is great for the pupils. If you struggle to get the fondant out of the piping tips like I do, I find just poking in the brush will encourage it out. Use a tiny bit of water just to stick the pupils onto the eyes and then stick it onto the cakesicle along with the nose and the ears. For the cute curly tail, roll a small piece of fondant in a thin sausage, coil it round and stick it to the lower side of the cakesicle. She's kind of a pig deal, it's Pearl! Next up is the sheep. Taking some white fondant, I'm using various cutters to make a little puff of hair on top. I'm trying a variety of flower and novelty cutters and just trimming away until I get the right size, but you could cut one by hand if you like. I've also made the eyes exactly the same as the pig and made some ears by rolling a small sausage of fondant, cutting it in half, and then squashing at one end so it lays flat against the head. Attach these pieces to your cakesicle and then taking a little black fondant, just cut out a small Y shape and that will be the mouth and the nose. This one is unbelievably cute. It's Sam the sheep. Next up, it's our chick. I've already made the eyes just like the pig and the sheep, and now I'm taking some yellow fondant and using a small heart cutter, I'm just going to make some wings. You don't even have to have the wings if you don't want, as he looks super cute even without them. I'm also using the same coloured fondant to roll 3 small sausages, which are pointy at one end, and this will be our hair. Using the orange fondant, I'm modelling a basic triangle shape for the beak, and for the feet I start off with a ball, point at one end, and then indent it with my modelling tool to define the shape. Attach all your pieces with a little water, and it's time to meet Charlie the chick, the ultimate wingman. Lastly, we have our cow. I've made the eyes and the nose the same as the pig, but this time I used a slightly larger oval for the mouth. And I've also made 2 pink and 2 white petal shapes, and these are going to be for the ears. For the cow print, take either circles, ovals or even petal shapes and then squash out their edges to make that classic cow pattern. Then stick these to the cakesicle along with the nose and the eyes. To assemble the ears, all I did was stick the pink on top of the white but a little lower down and then pinch together at the bottom. I cut the ear to size and then placed on the head with another splat in between. As a last finishing touch, I like to remove any corn flour or fondant flecks from my cakesicles with some food grade alcohol. You can just use a dry clean brush if you like to, but I find that alcohol dries quickly and really brings out the colours. And here she is, the never moody, but always happy to see you, Callie the cow. I just loved creating these cute farm animal cakesicle characters, and I hope you like them too. If you do recreate these, you can tag me on Instagram and I'll post all my details below. You can also see all the other things I create, which I really don't get round to filming too. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.